Welcome back, guys, gals, to SOS. I'm BA. All right. Anyone out there social distancing at themselves from social distancing? So, I got some updates and just things I kind of know. We went from a run on toilet paper and general supplies. Folks are panicking and buying everything out. There's most of the stores out there have about 50% of goods, and that's what I'm hearing from some of the major areas, major cities. They have some have less than 50% of supplies, and now there's a run on ammo and guns. So now we're at guns and ammo. I'm like, what's next? Beer or whiskey? And what's next? And what's next on the list? So I had a fear, and you know, you can ignore reality, but you can't ignore the consequences of ignoring reality. And I had a major fear for the longest time. I've always had the same fear, being separated from my family and main thing, my kids and my wife, right? So being separated from them in a serious SHTF Tiawaki scenario, and the end of the world as we know it, kind of thing. When you say global pandemic, everybody's going to freak out, and then you've got there's everything's like a domino effect, and everything will cause panic. I don't try to do that. I do it for awareness. I'm like, look, hey, unless it's happening, I ain't talking about it. I can give you my little food for thought and things I think about, what I foresee happening, and you guys can run with it if you want to or don't, or don't. It doesn't matter to me. I plan on doing more videos this week with Sippy. I'm trying to get her included in more of the videos that we do as a family. It's because it's the family prepping kind of thing, right? Family survivalist, right? What was I? All right, my biggest fear, right? The kids. And I had this crazy dream. Now it was just a dream that my kids had been in on lockdown or something, and I couldn't get to them, and we had been quarantined, and we couldn't get to them, and all these crazy dreams. Now it's just it's just your brain starts to do that. What you were thinking about before you went to bed. You're just a uh, you're just a bad piece of cheese. I get to thinking about the Twilight Zone because I have the entire box set of the Twilight Zone. I love just sitting and watching through all those, and it's like, man, you're just a small piece of cheese or something. You're that late night snack that I had before I went to bed. That's all you are. This is just a dream, and I try to try to ignore the reality that's taking place right now. It's I never thought I'd be making a video where I'm discussing things that are taking place. Like I've got friends that have literally bugged out. I've got friends that have loaded up their Jeeps and their SUVs and bugged out. It's freaking crazy. They've loaded trailers and everything else. Like, man, I won't be talking to you for a while. Cool, bro. Well, it sucks, because some of these folks, they live in funky cities and things, and they're getting out of those places for those reasons. It's not like they're and the circumstances are pretty good reasons to do that. And you just get too much craziness going on where uh, you got folks that are getting stabbed to death over a bottle of water, or there was one situation that was it Sam's Club? It was a case of water, and the guy got beat to death with a wine bottle and stabbed and all kinds of crap. I don't know if the guy lived or died. I do know that that's crazy, and that's enough for me. And I'm not taking any chances. If y'all are social distancing yourself, that's fine. Uh, you'll We're trying to make it to. I know it's kind of funny to say that now. Uh, those Gen Xers, they come up with all these crazy little things. So if folks are out there doing horrible bad things to one another, and you don't need the supplies, there's no sense in going out there. And You can't just keep your kids home. I just got word that our schools have closed, so I don't have to worry about the kids being separate from me in any situation. So that's a plus side for me, but it's a bad side for others because if those people need daycare or something like that, uh, like my wife was saying, she works at the hospital. I worry about her every day because she's going to be exposed to a lot of unusual things, and she was saying a lot of the nurses were concerned if they don't have a school to their kids go to, then they got to look for a daycare or something. I got the hiccups. They got to look for the daycare or something, right? And if they're looking for a daycare, and now that they just, I knew they were going to do something like this because I called the school Friday and I said, because you know, I mean, I swear, I don't know who operates and controls everything, but you just want to give them a box of crayons and a coloring book and tell them to sit in the corner because it's like uh, don't have them make a calendar. They missed like 2 or 3 days out of the entire year. It just completely took the numbers off the calendar. They screwed that up, and then there was a whole bunch of other stuff. That's not daylight savings time. It's a whole day early. Some folks are screwing up St. Patty's Day. It's the 17th, I'm pretty sure, but but I called and they were beating around the bush. They would not answer the question, and nobody wanted to answer that question because here's the thing: it's during situations like this, you lose you lose your rights, and that's where I was saying the medical martial law aspect of things. How if before I say this, I'm going to say this. You can't just, like you can't just take your kids out of school. Folks were telling me, hey, BA, just keep your kids home. Don't worry about your kids being in school because I worry about, something happening. Because you've got to deal with the panic people. And me personally, I'm just driving. But everybody else, those are the people that I've got to be worried about. And if I go to a location, the other people that lose their cool and freak out. Those are the people that I'm worried about. And that's separated. My kids are here, point B. I'm over here at point A. And I've got to start here, make my way, this long adventure of crazy psychos to get to my kids. And I don't want to have to deal with that. And that I know, right? That's what brought that on. And if my friends are over here like, man, we're getting out of the city, we're bugging out, if that kind of stuff is going on and people are getting stabbed over a bottle of water, then I'm pretty sure I don't want to separate myself too far from my kids. So, but they closed the schools down, and I knew they were going to do that. I just kind of had a feeling. I knew it was coming, and then a lot of other things are closing down, and I'm getting messages from other types of uh, functioning everyday life type things that are closing down, or they are social distancing themselves, right? They're basically working from home kind of environments. That goes with a lot of the banks and stuff, and it ain't looking good for like movie theaters and bus systems, train systems, and your basic travel. Also goes into taxis and everything else. It ain't looking good for a lot of uh, that where you're surrounded by others type environments, and it isn't looking good for a lot of those things. They're starting to close a lot of that stuff down. Flights have already asked, airlines have already asked for a bailout. They've already marked down their prices to 50%, and it's just a lot of the list goes on, man. I mean, I could go on all day about the stuff that's taking place right now. You can't just keep your kids out of school during these environments. Social services will come grab your kids. So that's the other thing. But knee-jerk reaction, and now nurses, friends, family members, all sorts of folks that work in different types of fields are having to find some sort of daycare for their kids, and that's the unfortunate side effect of closing schools. Because you could sit here and go, if you were, some person with a bright idea, and you're like, hey, you know what? Let's keep the kids from getting sick. Let's keep from spreading it. Let's just close down the schools, right? And that goes into churches closing. Quite a few churches are shutting the doors, and all over the world. And there's a lot of different folks that are spending their Sundays at home, doing teachings from home, and that's what I would recommend if you're in that boat, is to teach from home. And you can pull your kids and family together and go through some scriptures with them and pray and hold hands and all that stuff. It's stuff you can do from home. I just want to touch on that real quick because it not just this and this is affected, also that's affected too. So I like to mention it. The list goes on, man. But a lot of I'm seeing a lot of traffic and uh, uh, neighbors down the road, families bugged out to their location. They've got more family now. They've got a trailer parked there, and that goes with a lot of stuff. So you're going to start seeing some of that stuff too. If you live out in rural areas, you're going to see that type of thing happening. And with there's a lot of folks out there that think they say crazy stuff like, I've got guns and ammo, so I'm not worried about toilet paper. They're going to take what they want, from other people. And that's kind of American Psycho. I wouldn't go saying things like that. And just me personally, that's how I feel about that. Uh, yeah, you could pick the wrong house. I mean, because uh, if if you if you came here with that kind of attitude, there's plenty of places to dig a hole. So, I you got to watch yourself when it comes to stuff like that. And if it gets that bad to the status where we're in a world without rule of law, you need to consider that as well. You got to start thinking of everything and the stages of stuff that happen. If everyone's panicking, freaking out, in the little domino effect where oh, did you hear, Margaret? They closed down the schools. Oh man, we better get to the Piggly Wiggly. You know what I mean? And they're here up in the Piggly Wiggly and getting in a fight in the parking lot over a stuffed chicken or something. It's like, man, you know what? Like, what the heck? The last box of top ramen or something. They're gonna fight to the death. Fight. Finish her. Anyway, he just moved your beating heart. Anyways, Mortal Kombat. So it's that's you know what I mean. It's just ridiculous, and there's no reason. If you don't need to go anywhere, I wouldn't. And definitely, if you're elderly, I wear a mask. Those are more likely prone to getting sick. I'd definitely be putting on a mask for sure. So you're gonna have to, um, with all that pandemic chaos going on, with all the scary fear mongering craziness. I'm not that guy. I'm just awareness guy. And I had a thought that for folks that are stuck at home, they can't go anywhere. I the Step One Survival Discord, and it's posted on the Patreon and the Step One Survival Patreon page. It has um, it's a 24/7 chat. It's for anyone who needs to get stuff off their chest and talk or whatever. And you can post pictures, videos, all that other trash. So it's all you, and that's the rules are posted there. It's real simple. Just don't be disrespectful to others, and you're held accountable for whatever craziness you get into, OPSEC and that kind of thing, right? So you gotta make sure you maintain all that all the time. Yeah, don't go sharing too much information. But yeah, it's I figured I would do that because there's a lot of folks that are stuck at home or something like that, and they might need a place to go and chat. And I thought that'd be a good idea because I'm getting a lot of information from folks that this my mentioning of medical martial law and it's like, well, BA, you're not too far from the truth because uh, they've literally started using marshals to track down individuals that might have come in contact with, say, say Billy gets the virus and Billy's sick, and he goes to the website online and looks for a place to go, and they say go to so and so hospital. Outside, there's tents in the parking lot, and you'll see a bunch of National Guard guys there, and Billy rolls up and gets tested or whatever. And because you can use a website now and go, they post these little tents up all over the place, right? And what did I say? National Guard was going to be coming into the aid of these situations. What did I say? I said it, monitoring by cameras and all that stuff. I already said all that, and you know what I mean. And people still like, that can't happen, blah, 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 blah. Swear there's like a Billy in the corner of the room, like, that can't happen. Blah, blah, blah. And sure enough, it starts to take effect, and everybody's like, wait a minute, you can ignore reality, but you can't ignore the consequences, just saying. And but Billy goes and gets tested. He comes back positive. They start looking up his last known contacts, everybody he's affiliated with, HEPA violators. You know what I mean? You can't HEPA violate, so you have to make sure you can't go posting in a newspaper or anything that Billy uh, Billy Bartholomew or something. It's got to have some funny name, right? Anyway, so you can't. I'm just coming up with something. Don't hate me. I'm just coming up with ideas here. So Billy, whoever, okay, Billy Cheeseburger. So Cheeseburger Billy, they can't post his name in the paper, right? And Jimmy hung out with him, right? And Jimmy's like, man, and then Bob goes, hey, Jimmy, did you hear about Billy? And then Jimmy's like, oh man, we hung out with him. I bet you we're on his contacts list. I bet you he called us last. Oh, didn't you just text him last week? Oh, they already got your info. They're on you, and you and then those folks try running to the hills, and the marshals grab him. You know what I mean? They run up in there into the hills and the mountains, and they grab Jimmy. They drag him out by his foot. First they get the dogs, man. They get those dogs. Those are like John Wick 3, man. They bring those dogs, right? They bring those dogs. They right in the chest with a dog. He done ripped his peck off and stuff. He's bleeding all over the place, right? And then they stuff him in the back of the van, and then they well, no, it's got to be one of those old trucks. I got to use these movie things because it's just funnier that way when I add these. But this stuff's really happening right now. I'm telling you, it's actually really happening, and it's kind of like, well, to get him back, he's got to stuff Billy in one of those commando trucks, like from the movie Commando. It's got to be like a K5 Blazer. They stuff him in the back, and then it goes straight down the mountain, just like this, bumps and all. Because it ran out of gas. But anyway, movie themes. I have to do it because it just makes me laugh. Because I try to cheer you guys up while I'm serious, so I'm being serious and trying to be funny. Anyways, I'm not that good at it, am I? So that is taking place right now. So any known associates of someone, they start to go through their contacts, and then they start to quarantine them, and then they quarantine somebody else, and it's like you might have just ate at a Subway once. You might have went there with Jared, right? I'm just joking. Gosh, man, someone's gonna kill me for that one. Anyway, you had lunch with Jared at Subway. I know I had to do it again because it was kind of funny for me. He's in jail, right? Anyway, yeah, about that. So you go to Subway and you get everybody there infected. They're going to want to know about it. They're going to go in with the hazmat teams and start scrubbing the place down and everything. They're going to close the Subway down. You and everyone there who was there between the hours, they check the register. They see they see people's cards that have been used, and you got that cool pass program, right, where you're passing and swiping, right, where you just beep, and it's like, oh yeah, right, you saved 70 cents today. So it's like, oh well, Bob used PayPass, so it's like, well, yeah, well, he lives at so and so, so and so. His phone number's this, and he's a Capricorn. You know what I mean? I'm just kidding. I don't think it's that detailed, right? He likes long walks on the beach. I'm sure it is. And it's like, I got his Facebook page right here. Anyway, oh man. So that's the future, and folks are like, no, no, man, medical martial law couldn't take place because we don't have the troops for it. Do you need troops, bro? I'm just saying. I always hate that comment. I was like, that can't happen because of this. Oh yes, it could. You're living in 1984 right now. Look the book up, look the movie up. I mean, this is 1984. Anything you say is can be found. It's real quick, and they can track you down. So just keep that in mind. What else do I want to say? Go through your inventory. Look, I'm not going anywhere. BA don't want to get shot. I it's uh what was that uh I had an Ice Cube song in my head there for a minute, but I lost it. It was there, and then I started thinking of Vanilla Ice Baby. But anyway, I live in the '80s, I guess. The inventory, you got to go through that stuff. It's hard to come back from a gun blast, right? And you need to go through the stuff that you got, check your inventory, look at, explain to your kids if you got them, not to use so much toilet paper if you're worried about that sort of thing, and your food and everything else. Just see when, try and come up with a good idea, a good assessment of how much food you're going to be eating. There's the caloric intake website you can go to, and I had discussed that like 3 years ago or something. But all the stuff that you need to know for that. But you need to do some research with the stuff that you have on hand. Plan your meals out for the next couple of weeks and get a good idea of what your plans are for that. We've already planned our meals out for 3 weeks in advance, and I don't plan to go anywhere for 3 weeks and hunker down and focus on projects because I've got tons of reloading to do. That's something else you should do besides standing in line around the street corner to go buy a box of 9 mil or that box of 22 or that 5.56 or whatever it is you're buying. Instead of standing in line for hours and hours and hours, get into reloading. It's cheaper. I mean, it's if it's 14 cents a bullet, it's 7 cents a bullet. You know what I mean? So I think it's like 5 or 6 cents for certain. Anyways, I'm just saying, depends on what you're reloading, right? It's just like it's about 25% of that, and that's you're saving so much just by doing that. So now's the time to do that. Uh, what you need and everything I talk about all the time. It's really easy. I got some more reloading to do. I'm only posting some videos up of that. I'm trying to give you guys an update. Please like, share, and click the bell if you don't get the reminders all the time. And visit us on Patreon. I figured I'd say that real quick because within the next coming days, with more things getting closed and shut off and stuff like that, I'm probably going to be doing a whole lot more, and because I've got mead to make. I'm trying to keep myself busy, right? I've got woodworking projects, leatherworking projects, steel targets that I'm hanging up. I'm putting up a Challenger's kit, and so there's going to be a lot more shooting and stuff. That's going to be fun. Busy, busy, but stay busy. Keeps your mind off of stuff. That's what I do. That's why I have this channel. Keeps my mind off stuff. You got to stay away from that, whatever else is on your brain, right? But do an inventory and make rounds. Take note of things happening in your area and take notes of meet your neighbors. Do that if you haven't done it already. You might want to get to know them, and because you don't want to get to know them when it's too late. And also, uh, when things get really, really ugly in the world, if it does, I'm just saying, you can ignore it, but it might happen. All right. If things get really ugly, the nicest person you've ever known could be the deadliest person you've ever known, and that could transform overnight. And it's like, how did Margaret get so mean? I just shot your dog and ate it. You know what I mean? I don't think it'll get to that point. Anyways, I just wanted to share that just because it's just goofy. Anyway, trying to be funny. All right. Stay alive. Don't die. And I love you. God bless you guys and gals. And look after one another. Pray. And I don't even know what else I can say to help you guys out. But right now, back to what I got to do. Take care.